Hello, I'm Tim Barthel, sales craftsman here at Monrovia Nursery, and today I'm going to talk to you about our topiary process that can take up to 7 years to produce. Monrovia takes a lot of pride in this process as our craftsman develops a plant that will be 7 years in the making, but let me start from the very beginning. The plant we're using today and talking about is Juniper mint julep. We introduced Juniper mint julep in 1961, and it's one of our best plants meant creating topiaries. We start by a cutting like this that we create in the field by taking a cutting from a mother plant. We call this a liner. In this process here, it takes about a year to grow and start to get the roots developed. And then after that point, we shift it into this #1 size gallon container here. This plant also takes about a year to start to get established nice big fat growth on the plant. After this, then we take this plant here, and we transfer it into this pot here, which is the #5 size container. At this point, this will be the final size of the plant, but the plant still has a lot more process and growing to go before its final step. This step here is again about a year in this container. It now will start to get much more fuller and grow more dense, but it also is growing in a bush form. But ultimately, we are going to train this into a more of an upright shape for the final step. And you can see that by the example behind me here. This is a now staked up juniper mint julep that we now have in the container that will last roughly about 3 years at this point. It takes a lot of time and growing time over several seasons to get it nice and full and ready for the final crafting of the spiral itself. That then leads me to when our topiary craftsmen, our dedicated artisans, come in and now really begin to prune and train the plant the way we want it for the final step. This process here is really in detail because each craftsman needs to make sure that the spiral has the exact amount of turns and the height is exactly the same to create the uniformity amongst all the sizes that we create. This takes about a year. They will continue to flush new growth, prune, flush new growth, prune, and get it fuller and fuller as it moves along down the line. And then finally, at the final step, after about 7 years, it now is at the step of the final juniper spiral mint julep topiary. There's a lot of plants and a lot of that we grow that usually take maybe only about a year or 2 to grow. This takes 7 years, so it takes a lot more time for us to dedicate to make sure we have a beautiful and unique plant for your garden. And that's a 7-year process to make a beautiful juniper mint julep topiary spiral from Monrovia. Look for the green pot at your favorite local garden center.